In this video, we are going to show how to create an activity template. Initially, we should log in with valid credentials to the system, and this will take us to the landing page of the physician who has used the credentials. In the landing page, it will be blank if the physician has no homework pending. In this page, we can search for a patient, or we can go to the left panel by clicking on this menu on the upper left hand. If we click on this menu, we will see that a panel will open up, and in it we will have several items. One of them is activity templates. Now, we want to create an activity template. We click on an activity template, and we will see that we will be taken to another page where we can click a button to initiate the creation of a template, or where we can see the templates that we already have in our system. Now let's try to create the very first template for doctor logged in. So the system will start the wizard, and we click on next, and then here we will be taken to the page where we need to fill the attributes of the activity template. This template will eventually be used to create an activity in the system without re-entering all these attributes. So this will be used many times, and we can evidently change some of the attributes when we are starting an activity, and this will make this a very versatile template. So we start by creating the template by entering, for example, the name of the template that implies what it describes, activity type and title and so on. So let's create an activity that is a general practice visit in office. Now, the system will ask what activity, and we will just use the facility name as the provider's office in order to be as much as generic. And we will make it an elective start type, and we will select the activity type to be dependent on CPT codes. And we have here to enter a diagnosis. Now, the diagnosis that we enter can be changed at any time when we are creating or closing the activity. For the time being, we will use a very generic diagnosis type, and you will see that we have the ICD-10 value of that, and we will put here pain with a question mark, meaning that later on we have to replace it with more specific text. We will choose this to be a no bed and no emergency encounter, and the class of it will be a visit, a clinical visit, and the codes for it, here we can enter the CPT codes for the clinical visits, and it's usually 99203. Now, if you don't want to enter the activity codes, I think it's a very good practice to enter them, because eventually your system will be very reflective of the true nature of your practice. Now, the most important step that we will do when we are creating the activity template is defining the related forms to this activity, which is a general practice visit in office. And to do that, we have to select the forms from a pool of available forms. Now, we can take the ESOP of general practice, and we must make one of the forms at least imperative, because definitely one of the forms must be imperative to validate the template. So we will use this to be the one, and we will add it. Now we will add another one, which is the vital signs, because we want our nurses to register the vital signs in every visit. Now it's up to us whether we want to make it imperative or not. If we make it imperative, this means that every time we run this template to create an activity, we cannot close the activity unless we fill the vital signs form. So I personally leave it non-imperative, and knowing that when we are closing the activity, if the nurses have filled it, it will be logged by the system and you don't need to do any work about it. Now, we created an activity template of a visit in the office that has two forms defining the workflow, which is the vital signs and the ESOP general form. Let's now save this template. So the activity template has been saved, and now we see that the patient, that the doctor has an activity template that is called ESOP of general practice. Now let's try to use this template and see how it works. So let's search for a patient that is called Jada, and here we go, and now we can click here to create an activity. Now when we click here to create an activity, we will see here the template that we created. Otherwise, if we did not create any template, we can use any one of these generic templates that can effectively document most of our interaction with our patients. Now, if we click on this template, we will be taken to this page where we see what we have already entered. Now we can put, for example, pain in right knee to be more specific, and we have to specify the insurance, and now we have to enter our code, the physician's code, and we have to save the activity. Now this activity has been created for patient Jida, and if we go now, we can see that it appears as an activity of general practice visit for patient Jida in Dr. Ko's office, and this activity is ready to start. If we click on the activity to start it, we will see that we will have the menu of the activity containing the forms that we have defined in the template, which is the ESOP general with a red asterisk, implying that this is an imperative form, and we see the forms of vital signs that is also defined in the workflow of the activity. As long as we did not do any editing on these forms, we can still cancel the activity if we ever needed to, but the moment we save any of these forms, this activity cannot be deleted anymore. This is it, how to create an activity template and use it to create an activity for a patient.